Hey guys, it's James from Appalachian DIY. I recently did a review on this MATCO toolbox, and I thought I'd do a toolbox tour as well. For those of you that are interested, this is going to be more of a tool collection tour because unfortunately everything I own will not fit in this MATCO box. So let's go and get started. We're going to go ahead and first start with the roll around. So the roll cart, this is going to be everything I use on the more regular basis, on a daily basis essentially. Obviously we're going to start by showing you all the sockets. This is basically all the 1/2 inch, 3/8 and quarter that I use on a regular basis. This is kind of obvious for any technician. The brands here are everything from Snap-on to Craftsman to Mac to MATCO to Pittsburgh to Napa to pretty much everything. I just kind of buy them as I go. Even some Expert from Mac Tools. So yeah, it's kind of just a whole big collection of sockets here. Also, what you're going to want to have is plenty of swivels. These are all the ones that I use the most. So we have a 7, 8, 10, 12, 14 and a 1/4 inch, and then a 14 and a 3/8, and then a 15 for Chevys in a 3/8 drive. My most used ratchets, of course. I got my Stubby Snap-on. I got my longer Snap-on, my medium Snap-on, and then extensions as well. I work on mostly Hondas and Toyotas, so I use 1/4 inch really more than anything. So that's why I keep that here in my roll around. Magnetic trays are always good to keep stuff organized. I keep 3 of them just for random bits and things like that. Probably one of my most used tools are going to be my Dewalt 12 volt impact driver. I've got drivers for 1/4, 3/8 and 1/2, but I mostly only use the 1/4. Like I said, I use 1/4 inch for almost everything, or at least for, you know, the majority of things that I do. As far as wrenches goes, these are what I use the most. These are Mountain or MATCO or Easy Red, or pretty much everyone makes these now. So these particularly are Mountain, except for one that I had to warranty, which is now MATCO, which is basically exactly the same wrench. These wrenches are lifesavers. They're extra long. They're 72 tooth, I believe, and they are reversible. These things I use basically on every single car. And then of course the pliers that I use on a regular basis are all here. I have another drawer in my box for pliers, but these are what I use the most. And then a couple small pry bars. This specifically for basically Honda brake rotors. And then I have this Gearwrench ratcheting set with some extra bits there for my impact driver. But this set's really cool. I use mostly just the Stubby Gearwrench ratcheter. And then of course the bits. That's mostly what I use in the way of screwdrivers. And then on the bottom of the cart, my hammers that I use the most, Honda coils, because we get lots of Hondas, and of course my impacts. I recently did a review on this one. Hopefully you guys saw that. This is a really cool. I've been using it as much as I can because it's so light. This is a 1/2 inch drive, 600 breakaway torque impact. Alright, so that's about it for the, oh yeah, my lights too. Got my nifty Snap-on, my Dewalt, tire pressure gauge. These are normal things that we'll need every day. And then of course a mirror. So that's what I use pretty much every single day. So here's the box. If you didn't see it in my review, check that out. This is it's a pretty nice box. It's very comparable to the Snap-on and the Mac versions of this size. It's got the 2 big drawers on the top. One addition this box has is the resistance adjusters. So on these you can turn this knob and it will adjust the resistance of the actual drawer. So if you like it really lightweight, then you can adjust it down, or adjust it up rather. And then if you like a lot more resistance, you can adjust it up. So this drawer is mostly sockets and things like that I don't use quite as often as my stuff on my roll cart, but all my extensions here, definitely some long extensions for transmission jobs and things like that. Some ratchets here that I really don't use anymore. This is an easy red ratchet right here. I got my old school Craftsman ratchet, which is actually a pretty nice ratchet. I prefer flex head ratchets, so this kind of just gets saved for just occasional use. And then my old Craftsman 1/2" drive, which I really never use. But anyway, a few things I use a lot too. These little gauges for measuring brake pad thickness, of course spark plug gappers, a 3/8 wobble adapter, something that you'll need all the time unless you want to buy a whole set of swivel deep sockets, which I really don't want to. And then various adapters. These are the drivers for my impact driver and 3/8 and 1/2, and then some feeler gauges. Mostly I just use these for adjusting valves on Hondas. We got a few other little tidbits here that I never use. Of course, Allen wrenches that just get saved because one day you might need them. We'll work back over here. I got this really cheap, like dirt cheap serpentine belt tool that I don't like, but it's still there. This is a really nice set of Gearwrench extra long Torx. These are 6" long, I believe, and this is a fairly inexpensive set, but I don't use it that often, and for the price, man, you really can't beat it. The only thing I don't like is it doesn't have a case, but not a deal breaker. These little sockets, I did a review on these a long time ago, but these are Sunex Torx swivel sockets, which also I don't use that much because I try not to work on German cars if I don't have to, but just in case, this is my kind of little German corner right here. I've also got these shallow and deep external Torx. These are by Cowhawk. It's a nice little set, very inexpensive, and if you're not using them every single day, well worth the price. To add to my German corner plus miscellaneous corner, I have these spline sockets, which are pretty cool. I don't use them a whole lot, but they're SK. If you can see that there, SK used to be a pretty popular company back when my dad was working on cars, and you know, I figured I'd give them a try. They were pretty cheap, and I don't need them that often. Mainly, I use these for whenever, you know, I need a 12-point socket, which I don't have every socket in 12 points, so this kind of fills the gap for that. So pretty good. Of course, we need Torx sockets. Even if you don't work on German cars all the time, you're still going to need Torx sockets and some triple squares occasionally. I like these sets from Mac because they have the little boxes, and since I don't use them that often, you know, these are great. These two Mac sets here, actually it was a buy one get one free a couple years ago. They actually do these a couple times a year, so you can pretty much at least twice a year get buy one get one free Torx sockets from Mac. They're really nice. To go along with my German corner, I have these Stubby Torx sockets from Snap-on, or Blue Point, but from Snap-on, and these are a lifesaver occasionally on BMWs and Mercedes. And then I've got a few extra little adapters here that I got for free from MATCO, so they'll just stay there and stay pretty. I don't really use them too much because I already have all those same adapters. Anyway, moving on to some more stuff that's great for German cars. These Vim Tools Stubby hex adapters, or Allen sockets, whatever you want to call them. These are nice and short, good quality, and perfect for some like cam sensors or things that have really tiny, you know, tiny Allen bolts that you can't get to, of course. And this Sunex set's pretty neat. This is just a external Torx, basically impact socket set, which also I don't use that often. I mean, we work on Hondas mostly here, so these are kind of things that just you know, occasionally I'll use. And then of course all my extra sockets of things that, you know, I need, but just not all the time. This thing's pretty awesome. This thing I do use a lot. This is basically it's a 19mm socket, but it's big, and it was kind of thought of for Honda crank bolts. So basically it adds extra weight to the socket, so rather than pulling out the breaker bar for those, you can just use this socket. And next is this really cool thing I got from Mac not too long ago for O2 sensors. It's got two different sides here, and it's supposed to help whenever you've got basically screwed up O2 sensors that don't want to come out. Basically, this is like a spline socket that's supposed to help basically give you that extra added oomph you need to to get those O2 sensors out of there. And I'm not going to go through all these sockets. You can just kind of get them an idea. You know, I got a couple big Allen sockets for you know, transmission drain bolts and things like that. These are just super cheap, like Taiwanese, whatever, because they don't get used too often. And then of course all these are my standard sizes, which I only pretty much use on older Chevys and Dodges when we get them in. And then some Snap-on semi deep standard sockets, so in 1/4 inch drive. I think that about wraps up this drawer. Oh, so we've also got this pretty cool Gearwrench. I did a review on that. Fan clutch service kit, so I won't go into any detail on that because I have the review already. Alright, so let's move on to this drawer. It's another nice big long drawer, but it's very shallow, as you can see, so it's kind of limited on what you can put in here. But I try and get some of the bigger stuff in here, like my pry bars, my really big Snap-on pry bar, and my really big breaker bar, and extra long Mac ratchet, which I got not too long ago. This is a really nice 1/2 inch ratchet. You should check it out. It's about 250 bucks or so after tax, but it's a really cool set. And then of course all my little quick connect tools, this old set of hex that I don't ever use anymore. I've got some extra, well, not extra, but just the torque sticks that I never use, because I only really use the blue and basically the 80 and the 100 foot-pound one. So some extra bits for my impact, and some drill bits as well. This brass hammer works pretty good for some things. I don't use it that often because I already have enough hammers, but you know, in the occasion when you need a softer face hammer, there you go. Got a little 1/4 inch Gearwrench torque wrench. And by the way, guys, anything that you see that you'd like to hear more about, I'm just trying to run through this quickly on my lunch break, but anything that you see that you want to hear more about, just let me know in the comments, and I'll try and do a specific video on that tool if there's something that you're thinking about buying. These Gearwrench picks and things aren't very good, so I just kind of use them as junk picks now, but I mean, they still kind of work. I wouldn't recommend buying this set, so right off the bat there. And of course a cam pulley holder tool that you might need sometimes. Alright, let's move on. This is basically the pliers that I don't use as much. You know, of course all my vice grips and Big Bertha channel locks, you know, my flexible hose clamp pliers, cheap snap ring pliers, and just various other things that I just don't use that often, other than this set right here for clamping off brake lines and whatever you need to clamp off. Steel puller. This thing's really cool. This is old school, but this is a Mac door, like a door panel remover basically, and you can just, I don't even have to explain how it works. This goes up there, boom. So this really makes pulling door handles nice and easy. And this very fancy set of Snap-on, which is made by Lang, these pliers specifically, hose clamp pliers, which are very difficult to use, and I'd like to do a review on them, but only if someone's interested, because they're really just, they're more pain to use than they are worth the time. So let's move on here to wrenches. Won't spend a whole lot of time here. I've got the ones I use the most are just the extra long. Most of them are Gearwrench, and if you didn't know, Gearwrench does make non-ratcheting wrenches. I really like them because they're not expensive. They have a, if you can see that, this is supposed to help. I forget what they call it, Surface Pro. I don't remember what the Gearwrench calls it, but it's kind of like the Snap-on version of it, to where it helps, you know, grip the fastener, so you know, less chance of rounding off. However you want to say it, they're pretty nice for the price. Some of these you can get for like $6 each, which is really awesome. Got a whole set of the Gearwrench ratcheting wrenches, some of the bigger wrenches. These things are really cool too for German guys. Some Torx, external Torx wrenches. Very nice set. I believe these are Vim tools as well. Yeah, you can maybe see it down there, Vim tools. Those are really nice and not very expensive. Of course, all my line wrenches and things. And some standard size Allen sockets. These are pretty cool too, these little offset wrenches. 10s are great for intake bolts and things like that you need kind of an offset for, and some VTEC solenoids. It's a little easier if you have a wrench like this, so that's pretty neat. Alright, so this is kind of my miscellaneous, you know, surface conditioning, oil change drawer, various stuff, air tool drawer. I'll quickly run through this. Got a couple Mac die grinders, of course my air hammer, scraper, my little Blue Point air ratchet. This thing's pretty neat. My Dewalt drill for my 12-volt max system. You know, and the various little things that go with my die grinders and things. You know, some extra air hammer bits, and of course all the oil change stuff. So unfortunately, even as a professional tech, you can't get away from oil changes. So all this stuff, of course, I have to keep this forever until I die. And then this thing kind of got shoved back here because once I got that Honda crank pulley socket tool, this thing I haven't used it at all. So that's a great tool, and I'd like to do a review on that. If you haven't seen that thing, you know, the idea isn't very new, but that specific one is made by Lyle, and all the tool trucks, well, I won't say all the tool trucks, but at least Mac and MATCO have a version of it now. But it actually is made by Lyle, and I'll show it to you again. It's you can get it from Amazon, but you can also get it from MATCO or Mac. This thing is a lifesaver, or a time saver rather, so money maker. Alright, next drawer is pretty self-explanatory. This is my bolt drawer, and I'm sure everyone has one of these in some form or fashion. This is all the extra stuff that is usually not necessary to go back onto the car, or it's just too hard to get to, and it's fine. It's extra stuff. So everyone's got one of these, I'm sure, and I have this ball joint separator set here for the ones that I just can't break free with a hammer. So that pretty much stays there nice and clean, because most of them I can get loose with my anti-vibe Mac hammer. This thing's a beast. This is made by Stanley Proto or Stanley Tools, and of course Stanley Tools owns Mac, so you can get this from Stanley, like on Amazon, or you can buy it from Mac. I think they're about the same price actually, so you might as well get it from Mac instead of Amazon. And then of course my pressure tester adapter set. This is the Blue Point set. These things are super expensive, but you really need one. You can't properly diagnose cooling system leaks without a pressure tester. This set alone, without the pressure tester, was like around $500. The pressure tester is like another $2 something. So this is a very expensive drawer right here. Got some extra stuff there that I'll never use. And this Gearwrench spark plug socket set, which I did a review on. That's a very awesome set if you haven't got one. Tool trucks are selling these too, and they're also rebranding them as well. I know MATCO rebrands this set as their own now, so you can pick that up through them or just get it from Amazon. Alright, so this is what makes this toolbox what it is. So this is the MATCO 4S series with the power drawer. This is the power drawer, and I showed it briefly in my review video, but I'll show it again here now that I got it all organized. So not only is this the power drawer, this is also the cafeteria. So you have to have peanuts. It's a great snack during the day, and peanut butter crackers. Can't get along without it. Don't forget about generic mac and cheese. You have to have generic. It has to be the generic one because we can't afford the real one. And don't forget about generic Pop-Tarts. It's very important that they're generic. Alright, so as far as the power drawer goes, there's all my plugs back here. I can, there's a switch to turn it on or off, whatever the case is. So basically the way it's set up is you can plug everything in here. You've got plugs all along this rail here. Your power cords run through this little tank tread looking thing, and you've got your switch down there. So the idea behind this drawer is that you can keep all your power stuff charging overnight and actually lock it up at the same time. So that's the idea behind the power drawer. Whether or not you use that, you know, it's really preference. But you can see, even with all this other junk, I still got room for a few chargers and things. But you also have the plugs here on the outside of the box. So this isn't necessary, but is a cool feature. And for the price that you're paying for this box, you know, any other features, great. So besides the cafeteria and the power drawer, This is also my extra chemicals, sealants, different things like that drawer. Things, nail polish for marking things, and some extra wire or whatever. And then of course, gotta have some anti-seize. So that's kind of just a miscellaneous drawer since it is the power drawer. My electrical drawer, which I kind of want to switch this out because this is a very low profile drawer, as you can see. So this is all kind of just smashed in here and doesn't give me a whole lot of room to organize anything. But you know, got of course all my extra coils that are known good, so I can swap them out and test different things. We got Nissan, we got Hyundai, I believe, and then of course some Hondas somewhere. That's Honda. These other ones are Nissan, I think. These junky ones are Nissan. It's complete garbage. Extra sockets, wiring, test leads. Of course, you have to have a meter. And then I haven't saved. I don't know why I save these things, but I always save them when I do engine jobs because you never know. Well, you might break one on accident, and you just might have what you need. Never know. And last but not least, on the drawers, we have, of course, a Lyle spill-free funnel, which is a must-have, in my opinion. Bearing packer, we've got a sprayer for brake clean or whatever else you use. Junk. This is a really nice power steering puller set. This is made by K-Star, which is Lang Tools, and this is the same set that you can buy on the Snap-on truck. You can get this one off Amazon, which is where I got it, but it's identical. It's the same set that you would see on the Snap-on truck. In fact, you know, if you just handed him a piece of this on the Snap-on truck, it's the same tool, so he would be able to warranty it if it broke or anything like that. This cool set right here, this is made by OTC, but this is basically just your disc brake caliper set for the rear calipers, where it has the integrated parking brake. This is a really nice set. Price is great online. Got some back probes that never get used, of course. This is that master. If you saw my other video, this is the set that I got for free. Of course, I got this for free and then haven't used it yet because that's the way it goes. Once you get something, it's like 6 months before you use it. And then this ball joint service set from MAC, which is also OTC. If you didn't know, OTC kind of sells it to everybody. So that kind of wraps up that part of it. Now, I have a lot of stuff that doesn't fit in the box or the oh, and there's my table. So this is my table for my grinder and then all my parts and whatever else that just kind of collects here. And so yeah, so anyway, if you saw my other video, not everything that we have obviously fits in our boxes. So we got this cool little storage room up here where we can put all our other bigger tools and things, and it's kind of dark because we have to pretty much bring a light. Oh, I think I have a light. So this is basically where we'll keep like all our more specialty tools and things like that won't fit in our boxes. I've got pretty much any specialty tool that you could think of. We have it up here, and most of this stuff is MAC or Snap-on or Cornwell, you know, bearing separator sets. I mean, basically anything that you could ever want and need but not fit in your toolbox. This is where we kind of just stash all that stuff. So I won't spend a lot of time up here because I know it's dark and it's hard to see anything. Yeah, so that's really about it. This cool little apparatus from BG. This is pretty neat for doing fuel system cleans. This is really a lot fancier than it needs to be, but hey, it's still pretty cool. So I think that's about it, guys. Let's head back downstairs. There's that truck that will never die. Alright. So yeah, so that's kind of what I got going on right now. There's that MATCO box here. As you can see, I'm kind of crowded in between the tire balancer and my table. So unless I cut this table in half or get a smaller table, I'm kind of out of room here on storage, so my option would be basically to go up with like a top chest, or something like that, or just keep everything else up in the storage room. So I'm not really sure where I'm going to go now. At this point, I've got enough room, so I'm not going to worry a whole lot about it. And I'll be paying off this box for a couple years anyway, so I'm not really going to worry about a top chest or a cabinet at this point. But obviously, if I stay here, my only option for storage now is to go up. So if you have any ideas for a top chest or anything like that, any ones that you've used, it'd be something I'd consider for sure. Either way, let's get a good look here at the box. Again, this is the MATCO 4S double bay rollaway with the power drawer.